All right, let's make a glycerite. So today I will show you how to make a glycerite from start to finish. I am making a lemon balm glycerite today for my nephew who's feeling a bit under the weather lately. For my ingredients, I will be using a food grade glycerin from Wiley Organic. I love this company due to their product quality, their prices, and it's just really delicious. Secondly, I'll be using distilled water. Distilled water is necessary when making glycerite because you want to make sure that whatever you make has the least amount of contaminants in it. Lastly, I'll be using my mason jar right here, which I actually got from Dollar Tree, but any quality mason jar will do. It just needs to be able to tolerate heat, because I'll be using this in a sealed simmer. Now, for a sealed simmer glycerite, that really just means I'm just putting this over heat, like on a stove or crock pot, to draw out the plant's qualities. But for this video, I'll just be using the stove. Now, while I'm looking lost and for my measuring cup, I will tell you about measuring your herbs. If you are just starting out with herbalism, it might be a good idea for you to use the simplest method and to measure out your ingredients in parts. So a part can be a tablespoon, a teaspoon, a cup. Let's say you want to use like 6 tablespoons, six cups, things like that. But this is a good way for you to learn about how much of an herb that you need to make whatever it is that you're making. However, if you are more experienced, you can measure in ounces instead. It's really just about your comfort level and what you're trying out that day. For me, because I already have an idea of how much I need, I'll be using roughly between like 4 to 6 ounces of herb, which to fill up this jar is going to be close to about 3/4 of the way full. Now, when using your ingredients, if you are using dried ingredients like lightweight ones like this, only fill your jar about 3/4 of the way full. But if you're using more dense ingredients like a bark or let's say roots, closer to about halfway. But either way, you want to make sure that your water and glycerin covers your herbs entirely. Now, with water and glycerin, it does require more precision here. When you are making glycerite, you want to make sure you're using, at the bare minimum, 60% glycerin to 40% water, but you can adjust it, but you always want to adjust it up. So for myself, I tend to favor to do like 70 or 80% glycerin to like 30 to 20% water. Or I might do 90%, I might do 90 glycerin or 10% water. It really depends upon what I'm doing. Now, the reason for this is to cut down the risk of mold. But if you want to cut down that risk even more and also to extend the life of your glycerite, you can add a little bit of alcohol too. That will add more preservation qualities, even though glycerin is already a preservative. But it can also help draw out more of the plant's qualities. But for the purposes of this video, I am only using water and glycerin. And this also touches upon the next thing which I will cover, which is mixing your water and glycerin together. Now, glycerin is dense, as you will see in a second. So it does, if you want to fill it this way, this does take time to fill it up completely. Now, you can use a knife to make sure everything is mixed in evenly. But if you don't want to do that with the glycerin and the water, you can do what some herbalists do, which is to simply mix everything together in a blender. You want to do this on like a mild agitation in the blender. However, for this video, just so I'm showing it for teaching purposes, not everyone has a blender. I'm just showing you how to do everything in the jar, but a blender is open to you if you choose to. Now, in a moment, when everything's all filled up here, I'm going to move this over to the stove so I can get started on this glycerite. Finally get things nice and rolling. And I love doing glycerites because you can really make these in a day and take it in the same day. They are fantastic. And that's how it looks when it's completely filled up. Make sure that the lid and the liquid have about bare minimum a 1/4 inch space in between. But let's head over to the stove. When it comes to a sealed simmer glycerite, the bare minimum, you want to have it simmer for the very minimum 15 minutes. But for me, low and slow is the best. So 4 or 5 hours is my preference. Whenever you're making a sealed simmer glycerite, make sure you're using a towel, a canning ring, or a canning lid. Just make sure it is not touching the bottom of the stove. Bottom of the pot. This also goes if you're using a crock pot as well. Now, everything that I'm saying, I got from this book right here, The Modern Herbal Dispensatory. I love, love, love this book. Cannot swear enough by it. It is fantastic. If you want to learn more about herbalism, and I will learn more about herbalism, this is a great resource to have. I will say this is more of like an intermediate advanced level, but it is a great resource. All right, here is the finished glycerite right here. This is how it looks after you have had it simmer for minimum 4 hours. But right here, I'll be straining it and pressing it. So I do have my spatula, my measuring cup. I'll also make sure you have some paper towels or something else to wipe things up too, because it can get a little messy. Of course, my funnel and the jar that it will all go into. And here is my potato ricer. Now, what a potato ricer is, it acts just like a tincture press. However, to make a glycerite, you don't need one. I just use one because I don't want to be using cheesecloth all the time, just using my arms and squeezing all the time. But it's really up to you. Your quality will still be great regardless of whether you use a press or just something like cheesecloth. So I can show you right here, I'm putting my glycerite through the potato ricer. However, in the moment, I will actually be pressing it so that you can see how it all works. I think this potato ricer was about $40 to $60. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but I'll put the name in the caption as well, just so you know where you can find it. But this is a great resource to have. You can combine this with your cheesecloth as well, if you want to strain it, or even add another strainer to it. But this is a great way if you really want to really press together to draw out everything that was in those herbs. So as you can see right there, I'm pressing it down right there. It's because these are leaves, there's not too much effort I'm doing here, which is very, very nice. And here is where I strained it for the final time. This time I did add a cheesecloth to it and another strainer because I did see some more remnants in there. But here's the final quality. Do you see how clean and clear that is? Isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. But that is the final glycerite. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have tried this, please let me know. If you have any questions about anything that I did or anything you'd like to see more of, let me know.